Alright, guess what today is? Yep, it's voting time, so just heading on my way to do the voting right now. I'm not really into politics like I said many times, but it's your civil duty. Gotta do your part. I find it kind of funny actually, for a lot of the candidate promotional videos, they actually use drone shots in their videos. Makes you wonder why it's not even an issue in many cases. Talk about drones and floodings from the other day. I read something really interesting from Transport Canada about this, which I'll talk about later. I did read about this interesting underwater drone. You guys see this? And apparently it can go underwater and take footages. I've seen something like this before. I've actually seen one where apparently it can go up in the air and in the water. That's probably a little too pricey for someone like myself, but something I would look into in the future if it was integrated. I don't know if I'd have a use personally for something like dedicated just for going underwater. But it did make me think too, because a lot of the controllers, even these guys, they emphasize again it's kind of like a gaming system, like a controller. It almost looks like my Nintendo Switch controller with this thing. Makes me wonder if Transport Canada will ban those now too, huh? Alright, here we go. Alright, that is done. Actually, one funny thing about this election, I know a lot of people were saying, again, to change things like the drone laws, it's a federal issue, so things like these provincial elections don't really have much of an impact directly to it. Whereas I was reading kind of an interesting piece of news where it's saying the federal government was paying attention to which party gets elected here, because that could be a sign of who's going to go in and out on the next federal election. So that's kind of funny in that sense. And that leads us to Transport Canada. And again, you guys know what happens whenever we talk about Transport Canada, right? Here it says basically for some reason, like today, they seem to went on a rampage in terms of talking about drones. So here they say, fly a drone for fun, tag it with your contact info, new rules in effect. And I was thinking, maybe this has to do with the Montreal, like the flooding and all that, with a lot of people taking out their drones. And sure enough, they actually posted like this other post. It actually says here, are you a member of the media or a recreational drone flyer flying over areas affected by flooding? Remember, you need a special flights operation certificate. It's illegal to fly your drone where it could interfere with police or first responders. Thinking like, if you were in the media, wouldn't you already have like these SFOCs or whatever, like to fly the drone, since the media is considered business or commercial or whatever you want to call it? So why the need to further emphasize that? This quote is actually kind of funny to me. It says here, you need an SFOC to fly over flooded areas. Okay, you're changing the laws again, so just the fact that the area is flooded, period, even if you're not interfering with anyone in general, you're saying that's illegal for a drone to fly now just because the area is flooded? I can understand if there's something in the air, like a helicopter or whatever, and then you have some weirdo or dumb guy trying to fly way high just to get the cinematic shot of the scenery, like that, okay, stay away. But just with the area that's flooded in general, what is this? In many ways too, with all these tags of SFOCs and all this in context to everything that's happening, it makes me feel like this is a sales pitch more than a safety issue. So I was actually checking the Twitter just to see what they were actually doing for the incident, because to my knowledge, in that flooding, it's a crisis. Like they need all the help they can get in many ways. And so they showed basically this picture, I guess, of a crew that's actually kind of surveying the area, trying to find, I guess, stranded people or anything like that. And I couldn't help to think, based on all the other drone videos that I saw just from regular people who don't have an SFOC, their videos are actually a lot more clear and detailed in many ways, it seems. Whereas this one, it seems so far away, it's so blurry. Like in my opinion, you guys need all the help you can get in terms of like search and rescue, if that's what you want to call it. Again, it's one thing if someone's getting in the way, just trying to fly to get cinematic shots, flying really close to the airplane or the helicopter or whatever that's trying to do its job. But to stop people from helping others with their drone right now during a flood, when it's well known it's a big crisis, this is ridiculous. I mean, it makes me think in many ways, because these tweets, like the one showing the crews trying to do the surveying, and these quote reminders that you need an SFOC or that it's illegal to fly over flooded areas, it's almost like a way to neutralize, like say, the regular person from showing, hey, look at the positive benefits of it. It's like, no, must stop them. Must make it look like we're doing all the work. It makes me think again how a lot of these interim drone laws have nothing to do about safety per se as the main reason for it, because it doesn't make sense. You have a flooding and a national crisis, don't you want to work with people who have the equipment to help you scout out for like people within reason? And it even says, I'm in Transport Canada, you're here to promote safety, security, and efficiency, huh? Well, look at this tweet. Now, to my understanding, they were playing like some sort of game where they wanted people to guess how many transport ministers has been in Canada. And basically, he says here, today's answer is Mr. Minister Garneau is the 31st Canadian Minister of Transport. Okay, lovely. There's a flood in the world, for example, like in Montreal, that area over there. There's people using drones to help with the situation. You're so concerned about safety, but this is your response to it? You give people trivia? I mean, you have to think about that. There's a flood in the area of Montreal. People are using drones in a good way to help the situation, to document it. And you have time to post something like this that's completely unrelated? I mean, it makes me think too, like in context of this being posted, reaffirming, for example, that for whatever reason they're so terrified of recreational drone flyers and all that. Like, am I supposed to worship Garneau or something like that? Like, what's the point of posting this during a crisis? Keep that in mind. There's a crisis with a flood and all that. I mean, maybe it's just me, but you would think common sense. I mean, the fact that so many people were able to get drone videos out faster than Transport Canada with their official crew, or whatever you want to call it, would make me think, don't you think in a situation of crisis like this, it's better to educate the public on, for example, if it is a safety concern, you say, oh, we'll be flying during this time, so please don't fly during this time. But other than that, they encourage like the help of people in a responsible way because you guys need it. I mean, again, to me, this has nothing to do about safety, just based on all these details that keep coming up. I mean, people are even asking, hey, look at all the flood videos there. Are you gonna like hammer them down as an example? And of course, there's no response. In many ways, again, it just feels like propaganda, especially with this Marc Garneau tweet. But in terms of like safety and all that, I mean, to my understanding, if you are working in that kind of position, it should be non-biased rather. For example, you shouldn't just be protecting one specific group of people, you should be trying to protect everybody. So it's kind of funny with this privacy thing. I mean, someone brought it up where in terms of putting your name, your number, your phone number, your address, and everything outside the drone, it's like, you know, a violation of your own privacy. Would that actually put people in danger, for example? Because there probably are crazy people with all this propaganda who would look at the drones and say, it's a weapon, like we better stop these guys. And then some people were saying people would actually try to shoot down the drones, or maybe even like, I don't know, attack the drone flyer themselves. So don't you have an obligation, Transport Canada, to protect the drone flyers as well, if that makes sense? I mean, it should be equal. You shouldn't just focus on one specific group of people. It should be a law that benefits, you know, everyone in a fair way. Again, I try to think as rational as possible. What could be the possible reason for these laws? Because again, if safety is not the issue, then what is it? I mean, people have explored, for example, it could be for commercial reasons, like maybe just like, it's just a way to manage things money-wise, if that makes sense. So it's all about money. The only other thing I can think of, like with these ridiculous tweets, like the Garneau trivia, is this is all for political image, if that makes sense. Like, so for maybe he just wants like a record where, hey, look at my record, no drone crashes or whatever, I'm the perfect transport minister. Like, so like the way to do that, it would be like saying, hey, you don't want any car crashes, just ban all cars to prevent it. Although funny enough, if that is the intent, to be recognized or remembered as that guy who had, quote, 0 drone crashes, in my opinion, like for me personally, he'll always be remembered as a fear-mongering drone technology guy. Although in my opinion, that good sign about all this is, to me, all these republishing of these, putting your name on the drones and all this stuff, not recognizing people for actually capturing the footage that helps, you know, Canadians, it makes me believe that they're basically running out of ammo, if that makes sense. So in that sense, I think people's voices are actually winning in many ways, because they're running out of things to say. Look, what else can they do right now? I mean, it's almost like the reason you push out like the Garneau trivia and all that is just to basically cater to people who would be loyal to him, if that makes sense. Just to say, yeah, Garneau, I don't care what you're saying, how ridiculous it sounds, I just know it's your name, so I support you. I mean, to me, in many ways, that's what it seems like. So if there is a positive spin to this, I guess that would be it. Basically, they're running out of steam in terms of trying to justify these dumb interim recreational drone laws in many ways. All right, see you guys later.